Check. Sounds good. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. You sure? Remember talking to the mic.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
3, 2, 1. Hey, you're at episode number 1 of Conversations with Myself, a journey of self-discovery. I came up with the first half of that title, and Xavier came up with the second half, right?
Hi.
How you doing? Thanks for checking out our podcast. I'm Brent, and this is my 12-year-old counterpart, Xavier. Say hi, Xavier.
Hi, Xavier.
How did you come up with the second part of that title, by the way? That was genius.
I just thought, oh, that's funny. A conversation with myself, because it's because with a journey of self-discovery, I just thought that it was funny because it was with a conversation with myself.
Plus, you're my son, and it's kind of like I'm talking to myself because you're like a spitting image of me, and we do the same things, and it kind of made sense.
Yeah.
So I guess the question that everyone's asking, why start a podcast now? A podcast's been around for 15 years, and everyone's doing it. So what I kind of decided a couple of weeks ago was that we'd start doing a podcast because we did a YouTube channel for Xavier. When did we start that? About 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, about 4 or 5 years ago.
2015, I think.
Yeah.
And it's been neat to go back and look at some of the videos that we produced back then, kind of see him grow up. And back when you had a British accent.
Yeah, don't forget that we have to cringe when we watch them.
No, they're hilarious. That's why we did it.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a video scrapbook with your YouTube channel. And we want to do something kind of similar by creating our own podcast. So Xavier and I went back and forth over the past couple of days over some different concepts and ideas, and I think possibly we came up with something that'll be kind of entertaining the folks listening.
I think it'll be pretty good.
So here's what we came up with. Each episode, we're going to come up with a topic, like a main focus that we're going to talk about. Yeah. And then I'm going to ask Xavier a series of questions about that topic, and then he'll ask me some questions about that topic from my point of view from when I was your age, right?
Yeah.
And you're 12.
Yeah.
So you're going to ask me, like, whatever the topic is, you ask me a question. How did you feel about that when you were in 7th grade or when you were 12 years old? And I'll try to remember the best I can.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
So we're hoping by doing this, it'll give us some insight into how we look at the world and learn not only about one another, but hopefully from one another. Because you may teach me something, and hopefully I'll teach you something. And a lot of times you teach me a lot of things.
Yes. And we hope that it'll help all of you listeners.
You want to get fans, don't you?
Yes.
All right. So tomorrow's the first day of school. You're starting what grade?
I'm starting 7th grade.
And we thought that because tomorrow is technically the first day of school, we'd go ahead and make school the topic of our very first episode. So today we're going to talk about things that you've learned, some advice that you would give, and where you see yourself as an adult. What do you think?
Sounds like a good idea.
And I think I'll go first with the questions, all right?
All right.
All right, let me see where we're going to start here. This is a good one. Of all the things that you're learning in school, and this can be from the time you're in elementary school all the way to 6th grade last year, what do you think will be the most useful when you're an adult?
Honestly, if you asked me when I was a 6th grader, I would probably say science because I wanted to be a scientist. But now I think I'd say an author because I make a lot of funny little stories. Well, not necessarily funny, but I make a lot of stories, and I think that a lot of people would like to read them. So
you're saying like English composition and writing and learning how to be a better writer is definitely helpful for you.
Yes.
So you're getting a lot out of your advanced English classes.
Yes.
Well, your teachers would be excited to hear that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you know how to do that you can teach others? What's a skill that you're really good at that you think you could teach somebody else? Besides sitting on the couch and watching TV all day.
Oh, well, you just video games. Do video games count?
Yeah, I guess that would count. I mean, that's technically, we'll take video games and maybe something else.
Well, I'll just go with this. For school, I would probably say like English, English or science. But for video games, I could probably teach them the basics of Minecraft.
You could teach them how to build?
Yes, and how to mine.
But like in school, like if somebody was having problems in math and science, you'd be good at helping them out.
Yeah, or English, yeah.
All right, so this is one I think is a lot of fun. what do you think your life will be like in the future? So after you graduate high school or college, where do you think that you'll be?
Where do I think or where do I hope?
Well, I'm hoping you'll be out of my house, but that's what I'm hoping anyway.
Well,
what do you want to be, when you get older?
Like I said, I kind of want to be an author. That way I can produce my stories and hopefully make other people laugh and have fun.
So, well, first of all, what kind of stories do you want to make?
Do you mean like sci-fi, fantasy?
What?
Honestly, personally, I like sci-fi more, but a story that I made but haven't finished yet is fantasy. So, honestly, between sci-fi and fantasy, it's kind of both.
Yeah. And that's kind of, you want to go to school, like be an English major or something like that?
English major, English minor, something like that.
I was an English minor, and I don't like reading anymore because so I'm warned you read a lot of books. You're going to be reading a lot of books in 7th grade, so that'll prepare you.
Yeah.
That's the best way you get better is by learning from other authors. So that's a good answer. And this is a fun one too. If you could travel back in time 3 years and visit your younger self, so you're 12 now. If you go back to when you were 8 or 9 years old, let's say you can go back to when you first started making your YouTube videos. That's your very first YouTube video. Let's say you can go back then. What advice would you give yourself?
Honestly, I think that the most accurate one I can make, don't make the Minecraft episode that I made on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, you did tell them a little bit about that video.
So basically, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a Dan TDM video about how he met one of his Minecraft friends that's just an NPC, and I wanted to copy that down to a T. I named the villager in Minecraft Trey, short for Treoris.
So what you're saying is that you learn from your mistake.
Yeah.
And you learn like,
copy.
Hey, that doesn't work. And So your advice should be what?
Don't copy and don't do Minecraft videos when your channel is mostly vlogging.
And just do your own thing, right?
Yeah, do Find your own path. Thing. Yeah, be original.
Yeah, it's good advice. Here's a good one. If you could make one rule that everybody in the world had to follow, what rule would you make and why? And this can be about in school, in life, just in general.
Honestly, I don't know. Like maybe don't be hypocritical. Because I always, like when I watch a cartoon, I always hate it when somebody's being hypocritical. I know that's supposed to be funny, but I always hate it.
Well, does it happen in real life or just in like the shows that you watch?
Oh yeah. Like I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but I'm sure I've seen a lot of hypocrites out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Okay, well this is my last question that I have for the particular episode. So, and then I'll let you ask me some questions.
Okay.
If you grow up to be famous, which given your tendency for videos and things like that, I think it could probably happen. What would you like to be famous for? I think I know the answer to this one.
Well, like I said, being an author and the stories that I make, because I want to hear. I want people to read it and like it and want to read it some more, like some other books that I've read.
Like, what are some of your favorite books that you read? Because you read a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you read more than I did when I was your age, which I'm impressed by.
Well, there are 2 series right now that I absolutely love, one of which I have finished. The first one that I haven't finished is a series called Pokemon Adventures, which, it's about Pokemon. The second one is one that I've read, one that you probably know, that you might know, a series of unfortunate events by Lemony Snicket. I finished that back in 6th grade. It took me all year to read the entire series, and when I finished book 13, it almost made me cry because of how good it was.
But when you read books, like you fly through them. I mean, you're a pretty quick reader.
Yeah, I'm pretty quick. Although if you gave me a book to read, then it might take me a little while, or like a paragraph to read, it might take me a little while to read it if there's a lot. Well,
I looked at the syllabus for your English classes this year, and there's quite a few books on there. I think there's one that actually I read, so that'd be kind of neat to
cool.
Have you read a book that I read and kind of compare notes. So we'll be doing a lot of reading in school this year, so that'll be good.
Yeah.
All right, so I ask you my 6 questions, and you've got a couple of questions you're going to ask me. either you can ask me from my point of view when I was your age, or you can ask me from my point of view now. So, all right, what do you got for me?
Mine are mostly school related.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite class in school?
When I was in 7th grade, I got to take an elective, and I got to take theater. But I didn't plan on taking it. They just kind of put me in that class, and then I ended up really enjoying being on stage and learning about theater. And so it was a lot of fun. I actually got to play one of the leads in my 7th grade play, and I think it was called A Memory of Harold. I think that was something like that. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. So now you know where you get it from.
Yeah. I was about to say I perform in a lot of plays, so now I get where I get it from.
But you're way better than I ever was. You're far more talented than I was on stage.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
You're humble as well.
Okay. Now, this one, were you popular?
Not at all. I was a fat kid, and I had what they called a mullet. I had the short hair in the front, and I had the long hair in the back, and I was not popular at all. Plus, I went from my elementary school went up to 6th grade, and so I was kind of like popular in my elementary school, but then I went to middle school, and I was like at the bottom of the
food chain.
Pretty much, yeah. And then you had kids from all the different schools, and so I was like, yeah, I don't really fit in here. But I mean, that's just part of it. You just kind of you figure out how to navigate through middle school.
One other question, and then I'm going to get a relatively big one. I don't think I've told you this one.
Oh, do a surprise.
A new challenger has approached. Anyway, basically, were you a nerd back in school, or was there really or a tech nerd, or was there even any tech back then?
There wasn't anything like the internet or anything like that. The internet, the first time I saw the internet was in 1994, 95. I had a high school teacher that had the internet in his classroom, and it kind of blew my mind. I didn't know what it was. But I liked Nintendo and things like that when I was growing up. And so I liked playing games and figuring out how to, kind of like what you do now to a smaller extent. You're way more intense in your game playing. But as far as tech stuff goes, but I don't think I was a nerd.
Yeah.
I mean, I like school, I like learning and things like that. But I was kind of a awkward 12th grade or 12-year-old, I guess.
Well, this is going to be fun this year, isn't it?
No, I was it's just me, because your middle school starts in 5th grade. My middle school started in 7th grade, so it was a big transition for me, because I went from 6th grade being, at the top of the heap in my elementary school to in 7th grade.
Although, to be fair, I actually started last year in 6th grade, because they just moved 5th grade to the middle school.
But
so
when you started middle school, you weren't the low man on the totem pole either, because the 5th graders were there. So you kind of got lucky in that respect.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a pretty big question. Do you have any pretty big stories from when you were in 7th grade?
Actually, yes. This is a crazy story. So I went to it was kind of a crazy middle school. We just had so many different people there. And I wasn't I was just like in a regular class. I think it was social studies or something like that. And I don't know if I told you this story or not, but we had a kid that was being disruptive, and the teacher told him to be quiet, and he wouldn't be quiet. And so he said, I want you to go to the principal's office. So he sent the kid to the principal's office. The kid goes to the door like he's going to leave. Yeah. And the teacher went over to grab the door to close it, and the teacher's finger got caught in the door jamb, and it closed, and it cut his finger off. Ooh. And we were in the classroom when the teacher's finger got cut off. And all I remember was there was a lot of blood. The teacher for some reason, he put his finger in his mouth. I don't know why he did that.
Well, he's probably
it was weird.
Something tells me he was just scared, so he put it in his mouth. Probably so you guys wouldn't see it.
And then he rushed out, and then we all had to go to the library, and I think we had to give police reports.
Police reports?
Well, it was an assault on a teacher.
Oh, yeah, I guess it was an assault.
The kid got suspended. I don't think he got expelled or anything. I think he actually came back. But it was kind of a traumatic experience for a 12, 13-year-old. So it's kind of a crazy... I don't think there's anything quite as wild at your middle school.
Yeah. Actually... There was something that was kind of weird back in elementary school that I can vaguely remember. Not gonna say any names, but I remember one time, mainly because I don't know his name, but one time when I was in the multi-purpose room back in I don't know, it must have been second, first grade, and I was just sitting down, and we were about to go, so I was getting up. This one kid, like, I don't know any context, but he just he slapped one of the teachers, something about that. And I remember I saw him just at the middle school the other day, a couple weeks ago when I was in middle school, and I was like, whoa, what? He's actually still here?
Have you not seen him since when you were in second grade? Or?
Like, I'm sure I've seen him before, but like he just kind of gives off a bad kid vibe.
Well, that's the thing. School and middle school and high school, you learn to interact and socialize with people that are different than you, and I come from a different background, and it's sometimes it's hard to navigate. I know people always say middle school is tough, but you got to learn how to. I mean, life's tough too, so you have to kind of. Yeah. It's kind of a microcosm of what life is like a little bit, I guess.
Actually, do you mind if I say a kind of happy story?
Go for it.
So I'm in the science club, right? So I'm in the science club, and my science fair project is basically doing plants and seeing what type of soil best grows plants. And we got mints because we thought that those would grow best. Didn't pop up for a long time. Actually, no, I don't think they popped up at all. So I was telling this to my teacher, to my science teacher, who, like, a lot of kids didn't like. I was kind of neutral to them, but anyway. But basically, I tell him about that, and then a couple days later, I get called up. But I get called up, and basically, she gives me a pouch and gives me a zinnia seeds, and puts a towel in the bag and pours the seeds. So she gave me some more seeds for that, and my science fair project ended up winning that year. So she gained a lot of respect for me that day, and
she really helped you out.
Yeah, she was one of my favorites, and I tried to tell everyone else that, but unfortunately, not that many people like to.
That's good. I mean, you can say, that's a life lesson. So you can say,
yeah, don't judge a book by its cover.
Or you can say, listen, you may have a hard time with this person, but look what this person did for me. They really do have a good heart, and they really do want to. If you just give them a chance, they really are trying to help you out. So that is a good story.
Yeah.
All right. No more questions for me?
No more questions from you.
I got no more questions for you. So that was our first podcast episode of Conversations with Myself. What's the tagline?
A journey of self-discovery.
You got to say it louder than that.
A journey of self-discovery.
All right. We're going to try to come back every week or so, every couple of weeks, and do a different podcast episode. And we're going to do different subjects, like movies and TV.
Video games, TV.
We thought since school's starting tomorrow, we'd do school and just some advice on those types of things. But we'll, we kind of look in the future. I want to ask you your thoughts on different movies. I want to sit down and watch a movie with you and then do a podcast and talk about, well, what did you think about this movie? Yeah. The one I want you to watch so bad, and it's not on streaming anywhere, is Pee-wee's Big Adventure with Pee-wee Herman.
I never heard of I think I've heard
He's on a journey to find his bicycle, and it's not in the basement of the Alamo.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
And when we get to the music episode, I want to ask you why you hate Pearl Jam so much.
Because you like it.
Yeah, well, spoiler alert. So that's kind of the gist of our podcast, what we want to do, and just kind of have some fun and make an audio scrapbook, kind of like the YouTube channel is our video scrapbook. And we are videotaping these that we're going to try to put up on Xavier's YouTube channel, so you can see us two goofy dudes in my music room making this podcast. Yeah. So success! We did our very first podcast episode. We want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll come back every couple of weeks and have a different episode.
Sounds good.
Did you have a good time?
No. Yes.
And you didn't ramble.
I didn't ramble.
A couple of times you rambled.
Yeah, but still, that's pretty good for me.
You reined it in. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I give one piece of advice to all the kids listening.
Some closing advice. Go for it.
Don't play Fortnite. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.